Hey folks, Nas here. Another episode of Medieval Dynasty. In today's episode, I want to cover rot and how to get it and how much you get from particular items. Now, rot is used to make fertilizer, so you can put the fertilizer on your fields so you can plant your seeds. Now, you can also get fertilizer from manure, which you'd have to have pigs in the pigsty. And of course, you have to have animal feed to feed the pigs and so on and so forth. But I want to talk about getting rot. This is one of the ways that I prefer to actually get fertilizer in the game. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at, we'll open the tab. We'll go to management real quick. Go here, go to the little building thing, go to barn. You can double click on the barn. And then you can click on the little hammer with the circle above it. And you can see that I've got my people making fertilizer. They're producing right now about 188.5 a day. And I've got a ton of fertilizer on hand. I've probably got about 4,000 fertilizer in my personal resource storage, food storage, because that's where rot needs to be stored in order for your workers to turn it into fertilizer. So I've got it in my food storage, ready for them to take. Now, in order to get rot, you have to leave food either out or let it rot in your chests. Now, if you leave it in the chest, it rots slower, especially if it's in the food storage. That's gonna be where your food deteriorates the slowest. Now, if you leave it out on the ground, at season change, which you can see at the top of the screen, when it turns night, we're going to have season change fairly quickly. So at season change, the food that you leave out on the floor will turn to rot. So what we're going to be testing here, I've got a bunch of different types of food out here. We have fish. We've got an apple. We have meat, cabbage, beetroot. There's a carrot right there in the corner. We have ripe blueberry, so this is one that you can eat without being poisoned. You have onion, cherry, pear, plum. I've got a mushroom. I picked a couple of items that I don't feel that they're actually going to change at all during the season change, but I wanted to test it. But we've got hop. And then, of course, I've got unripe berry to go with the regular blueberry because I want to see if we get a different amount of rot from one over the other. I've got broadleaf plantain and St. John's wort. I'm almost positive this does not disappear or turn into rot, but we're going to test it anyway. So after season change, what we're going to do is we're going to come back and we're going to see how much rot is produced by each of these items. So let me go and get past season change and we'll come back and see how much rot we get. I'll be back shortly. Alrighty folks, as you can see, we've had our season change and all of our food has turned to rot. So what we got here, sorry, didn't mean to flip the camera up there. So this was the fish meat. So we got 3 rot out of the fish meat. This was meat. We got 3 rot out of that. So both meats provide 3 rot. This was the beetroot. We got 2 rot out of it. This was the blueberry, 1 rot. Cherry, 1 rot. Plum, 1 rot. So it looks to be that all the fruit is giving you 1 rot each. Now the hops and the broadleaf plantain and the St. John's wort, there were no change, which I didn't think there would be. I just wanted to put them out there just for test purposes. Now we have, this was the unripe berry, and that's 1 rot. This was the mushroom, and we got 2 rot out of that. The pear, 1 rot. Onion, 2 rot. Carrot, 2 rot. Now the cabbage, 4 rot. So we get the most rot. That was the apple right here, and that gives us 1 rot. So the cabbage gives us the most rot per item. So if you're going to go the route of doing rot, you definitely want to have a crop of cabbage going, because that is going to, the cabbage will give you the most rot. Now, what I want to do is I will collect all of this rot, or at least 10. So what's that? 8, 9, 10. We got 10 rot. You can see it there in the left-hand corner. Let me run up here to the barn and show you where to craft that, because you're going to be crafting your rot into fertilizer. And if you have manure as well, you're going to bring it to the same place. And you go to this crafting bench right here, this workbench in the barn. Open your crafting wheel. And you can see right there, fertilizer is highlighted, and it takes 10 rot to make 1 fertilizer. Now you can also use manure, so it takes 2 manure to make 1 fertilizer. And this is where you're going to craft that. There we go. We got 1 fertilizer. Go back into here. We got 1 fertilizer. There we go. And that's a big piece of fertilizer. But that is how you get rot to be able to turn it into fertilizer, and you can put that in your crops. You can see I've actually got some cabbage going down here on the very end, along with various other items in my fields. But I strictly use cabbage to produce my rot. And then of course I also have extra meat and extra fish meat each season, because I've got the fishing hut and the hunters constantly making that stuff. And then I have my tavern people turning my meat into roasted meat, or the, what is that, dried roasted fish, I believe, as well, so people can eat. I don't make a ton of meals. I do make some periodically. But anyway, that is how you get rot from, and how much rot you get from each of the items. If you folks enjoyed this video and liked the information in it and thought it was helpful, make sure to click that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. I greatly appreciate it, and it helps put this video out in front of other people. Make sure to go and visit my Discord and Twitter and Facebook. All those links are down in the description below, just below the like and subscribe button. And we will see you folks in the next one. You take care, and happy hunting.